First tell me how you met Puja Gurudev.
Before I met Gurudev, I heard his voice.
Okay.
It was the year 84 that from my hometown, Coimbatore, where I finished my graduation, I came to Bombay, where my uncle lived, and he was an ardent devotee of Gurudev for a long time. And he used to collect the tapes of Gurudev's lectures and would listen to him almost every day. So when I was with him, before I really got a job, so I used to wonder what he was listening to. So one day I asked him, "What is that you are listening? I'd like to know." You used to have that headphone and listen. He would not disturb others. So he said, "You would like to know? Okay. Now since you are at home, you are not doing anything, listen to him." So as a skeptic, I started listening. What this is hearding? I mean, he's talking about a Swami. And, I do not know what he's talking about. As I started listening to him, I was quite surprised by the eloquence, the language, and the way of the diction, the way he presented the philosophy so well. Yeah? So I used to listen for hours together. So one sitting for at least 2-3 hours I would listen. So I mentally formed the idea of Gurudev before even I met him. He must be a genius in what he is doing. And he must be a great orator to start with. So the urge to see him started way back in the 1984. Then my uncle one day he said, "Would you like to see him?" I said, "Yes, of course." So we came to Sandeepany. That day Gurudev was supposed to arrive from abroad, and all of them were waiting. A lot of students, Sandeepany students were also there. So I stood with my uncle to see him, but after 2 hours or so, he did not come. So I got frustrated, and I was hungry as well. So I said, and this place was not that developed. Ashram was there, but to come from my uncle was living in Dombivli, quite a distance. So Gurudev did not turn up in time because of a delay in flights. So I finally said, okay, let us see him later. So I did not see him in 84. So at that time I looked at these Sandeepany students and I was wondering what they are up to. I had no idea what they were doing.
Not realizing one day you would be there.
So, yeah, correct. 7 years later I was in the same position.
Yeah.
So I went back. So that's what I first heard his voice. So then 86 is when I actually met.
Okay.
So actually it was a youth meet. It was about talking to the youth about their responsibilities, etc. So 86 I was in Bangalore. I already got a job at that time in software. And I was going to Indian Institute of Science, Tata Institute. My brother was doing his M.Tech there. So when I went there, in the notice board, there was this statement, Gurudev's talking to youth. And his picture was there. So as soon as I looked at it, I said, I know him. But, when was it? And then I read the details. So next day it was. So it was Sunday afternoon. So usually Sunday afternoon I used to sleep. So I said, this I need to go. So I went all the way to the venue where he was giving talk. 2 hours he was talking to the youth, standing. 2 hours standing and talking. He was 70 by that time, 86. So, okay. So I was quite surprised because my grandfather was more or less the same age, my mother's father. And he, at this age of 70, he used to complain about everything under the sun. Weather is not good, politics is not good. And, walking is a pain, sitting is a pain, lying down is a... So all the time I heard was how old age is such a painful thing. So in my mind I had a formation that I should not live either at 70 or I don't want to complain like this, if at all, if I live like that.
Okay.
When I met Gurudev, who was so enthusiastic, laughing, joking, and much more youthful than any youth who was there in that place, my thought about the old age is completely changed. If at all I had to live by 70 years, I should live like this person, who loves to live, who laughs at 70, who is so much of energy at that time. So my whole mind, my mind has changed completely about what a person of that age can do. And then they had the registration for joining the youth Yuva Kendra. So I just put my name.
Okay.
Then I forgot about that, and I'm busy with my work. Next Sunday afternoon, it's a morning, around 10 o'clock, I was just got up. Sundays, usually lazy Sundays. Got up and about to take bath. Then there was a knock at the door. I was living with my grandparents. So I opened the door. There was a young man standing there, and he said, "I'm here to take you for the youth class." I said, "What youth class?" Chinmaya Kendra, you signed up. Oh, okay. When is it? Now, in another half an hour. Where? Just nearby, 2 blocks away. I said, "I'm not ready. I'll come next Sunday." He said, "No, I'll wait."
Who is this man?
I'll tell you. I said, "Okay." I waited. He waited. Then I took bath and all those things, and then I went with him. And there were some around a dozen people were there who were all registered first time. So we had a nice introductory talk, etc., and then that got over. So next Sunday also I was not ready. I mean, I forgot about this. Again at 10 o'clock there was a knock at the door. So I opened, was standing there. "Yes, I'm here to take you." I said, "No, can you leave it this time? Next week I'll come." "No, you're coming with me." Again I got ready and went. Third week, by the time he came, I was already ready. So we went together. He is now a Swami.
Oh,
Ramatmananda.
Ramatmananda, okay.
So 87 there was a Gurudev's they Tulabar they did in Bangalore. I was supposed to be a part of that, but some personal work was there, so I couldn't attend. But last day, he had spoken about the glory of the masters. So I listened to him, and then it was really very, very invigorating talk. Then immediately following that, I was asked to serve as the secretary of Yuva Kendra. In 88, I went to Siddhabari with a group of some 10 of us. And we went to Vivek camp. And I still remember, at the end of the camp, during those times, Gurudev used to put tilak.
Yes, true. India map and diyas, all that stuff would be there.
Room, in his room outside, he used to sit with the tilak, and he gives a certificate saying that he finished the Vedanta Course. And he used to put a tilak and the mala. Mala was not there. I think tilak he used to put. I still remember when he used to put a tilak on me, and I lost my consciousness, I would say. I was not in the world. I was totally transformed. He put that tilak, and I closed my eyes, and that's all I know. For a few minutes I was out. Every day I used to hear him 1 hour. 1 hour every day I used to listen to his talks. Like my uncle did. Without a fail, I listened to him every day. So mentally I was with him.
Okay.
It is like
it was your sadhana. It was your sadhana.
It was like, I used to get cassettes during those time cassettes from everywhere, anywhere he was giving talks, whether it is Chennai or Bombay or Bangalore. I used to write to them, send it to me. So I used to listen to him almost every day. Sometimes I listen to the same talk or days together. If I don't have anything else, so if I hear him.
So the same voice, the same topic.
That made a lot of change, because every mornings when you start listening to him, to start with the first thing that really had changed my everyday life, because the push with which he used to assert things. You listen to him first thing in the morning, and it keeps on ringing in your head. So you will never lose attention. In 90, when Gurudev came and we had a yajna there, it was a very successful Gita Jnana Yajna. Then at the end of it, I told Gurudev that I plan to, pursue this Vedanta course. So he said, "Did you check with Swami Brahmananda?" I said, "Yes, I talked to him." "All right, but I need your parents' permission."
Gurudev said that. Okay.
So I said, "Okay, I will definitely make my parents meet." So, and then it's immediately after the yajna, I was secretary at the time. So So I said that if I'm going to Bombay for this course, should I resign my job right now, resign my position as secretary, so that I can train somebody else in my position? He said, no. Do not leave your secretaryship until you are ready to go to Bombay. And he told Swami Brahmananda, don't accept his resignation until he gets into the train. I did not know why. Later on, he wrote to me. He said that if, as soon as a program is over, if the main person resigns the job, means something wrong. Some frustration.
Yeah.
Don't do this. You have not done anything, anything wrong. But your intention is right, but the world would not think that way. So don't do that. So he guided me not to do that. So then in 91, Coimbatore, Gurudev was giving a camp. So I took my father there to take his permission.
But when you told your father, did he agree to come to Gurudev?
I said to him, just we'll meet Gurudev.
So he had no objection for that?
No, he wanted to ask him, why should my son do the course?
Okay.
So it was very crowded on that day. Gurudev was taking rest. A lot of people were waiting to see him.
Yeah.
It is Mr. Varia's place, Dr. Varia, in Ayurveda clinic.
I know.
Ayurveda pharmacy. So very crowded, and people were waiting to see him. So when I walked, it was very interesting. My father had his. He was quite surprised because the moment I walked in, the people, some of them who knew me as Chinmaya Mission Secretary, said, yes, come in. And out of all the people, they were taking me and said, are you so important? I said, I don't know. I didn't think so. So I directly went into Gurudev's room.
Okay.
While others are very fuming, why is he going and nobody else is allowed?
Okay.
I went straight to his room. So Gurudev was lying down. So then he was taking rest, and then he opened the eyes. My father then asked him in Malayalam. He asked, my son wants to pursue this course. What is your opinion? What he said was quite intensely emotional. So Gurudev looked at my father and said, do you know one thing? Your son is a pillar. Don't shake him. I was quite shocked because what confidence I had about myself, or what confidence my father about me, compared to what Gurudev had, is so like a mole and a mountain. He had so much confidence in me, which I never had. I never had about myself. He said, he's a pillar, don't shake him. What a statement. So my father was speechless. And I remember once, I went in Sandeepany. I wanted to read a book which Gurudev had suggested one of his talks, and it was there in his library. So I asked Sheila, she was in charge of the library. So I asked her, can I take the book? She said, Gurudev is coming in 2 days. Make sure that you finish and give it to me. So I said, the whole night I sat down and read the whole book. It was 7 Habits of the Successful People. That was by Stephen Covey. I read it overnight, and then I went to Sheila, and then she said, oh, you know where it is, you picked it up from, you keep it there. I wondered, oh my God, I forgot where I picked it up from. Where was this? And I don't remember the exact order in which the books were kept. I said, okay, someplace I kept it there. So following day, Gurudev came, and he was sitting there in his room and in his outside in Sandeepany in that big hall. So he was in the crowd. Some people get into my library, take my book, but don't keep it in the same place. I was shocked and looked at Sheila, and Sheila said, I don't know. Who is that? I was shivering. I said, it is me. Okay, let us talk about that book. It was 92, May to October. So at that time we were taking decisions whether we are taking diksha or not. So I was in two minds because my parents did not directly object, but they didn't say no also completely. My brother was objecting to it. He said, what are you going to do? You are you have practiced as a software person and you are going to totally something unrelated. So he was in France at that time, I was working. So I went to Gurudev and sitting with him. I said, my brother had a question, what is it all about? What is brahmacharya is all about? Why should I do this? Where is he? I said, he's in France, he's doing his work. Give me his address. I will write to him in person. So I took his address, I gave it to him. Then he said, I'll write to him, don't worry about it, go ahead. You do what you need to do. So I said, okay. So this was in October of 92. Then I came back to Bombay when we continued. In January, he came, Gurudev came. And as soon as he got out of the car, he took from his pocket a letter and he gave directly to me. This is the copy of the letter I sent to your brother. Read it. And he went inside. So as though he was, just waiting to give me. So, he gave that paper. This is for you. I said, okay. Then I read, I think I have the letter, the copy of the letter, because my brother has got the original. It talked about what is brahmacharya diksha. A very interesting letter he wrote. I'll give you a copy. So, he took personal attention for everyone. He gave personally his advice to those who really needed it. I remember when I was secretary, I wrote to him about something, but by the time he came to Bangalore, I didn't receive a reply from him.
Okay.
So, first day was over and I went to his room. At that time I was just secretary, Chinmaya Mission. He looked at me and said, I have to give you a reply. I know that. Balan, the typist, bring that letter. So he brought that letter and the envelope which had letter inside. This, I did not mail it because I am going to see you, therefore I am giving to you in person. And he started looking at that envelope which had the address. Balan, address is wrong. Balan said, no, Swamiji, it is right. Check. It is 564 Mill Colony and not 562. My address he remembered. You can imagine that? How many letters you write a day? He knew that my door number is wrong. Balan immediately looked at the book. Yes, Swamiji, it is 562, not 564. That was his memory.
This was in 92?
No, this was when I was secretary.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So, that personal touch, there is nothing to compare with that. So, he remembers each person's even address. If something wrong, he knows. That was he. That's why everybody felt he belongs to me, he knows me, he is something special to me. So that connection, nobody can forget. So that it's not, how he interacts, but how intensely he relates with you. So powerful. Yeah. So powerful. Another instance where I remember about memory is, not memory, but pulling my leg was, I used to carry his, the book, Gita book with a silver plate. He used to keep it inside to mark, and his pointer and his snuff box. So these are things I have to. No, not snuff box. These three things I had to carry. Snuff box he used to keep it in his pocket all the time, and a handkerchief.
I think you have carried this sugar-free tablet.
I don't remember, but these three I remember.
Yeah.
So once it so happened, after his talk is over, he would walk out, then I carry these three with me in my hand so that he can use it. So I used to take it to his room. So one day, one particular evening, after his talk is over, he left, meaning he left the dais. I went there, his pointer was there, book was there, the marker. And his snuff box in silver, and his snuff box was there. He took the handkerchief with him. So I took the snuff box with me and then went, and I used to sit behind in his car. So we were traveling. While traveling, he just looked and, oh, it's not. Then he looked here. Where is my snuff box? So I said, I have it, Swamiji. You stole it? You stealer, you thief. And I didn't know what to say. I didn't thief, Swamiji, it was left behind. I left behind, why should you take it? Unless you had the intention to steal. I know, of course, I know that he's pulling my leg.
And how would you say Swami Chinmayananda as a role model for the youth?
See, as you have seen in this movie also, he was a person who never tired of asking questions. In my book also, The Life of I, which recently published, I had portrayed the Anveshak, the main character, as an agnostic. Because that curiosity to know is to be alive. Once it dies, you stop the journey. So he was a person who was full of questions, and that the questions are leading to more questions.
Okay.
And intense, more subtle questions. The gross questions that we had: who is God? Where is He? What is He doing? To how is He me? Or how am I He? So, the intensity and the nature of questions have changed, but questioning never changed.
Okay.
So that should be kept alive. That's the youthfulness I would ask. Right. The moment you say, I know everything, you have lost. Okay. Like Ken Upanishad says, if you think you know, you don't know Him. Okay. So, I think Gurudev had made youth in the right direction to ask questions. Okay. And parents feel annoyed when children ask questions. In fact, that is the age they have to ask questions, and you should encourage them to ask questions. So the whole of our Gita or Upanishad, if you say it's basically a question-answer session.
Yes. After Gurudev, what was the source of your inspiration?
So as I said, I used to listen to him almost every day. Listening to his, yes, I used to continue to listen to him. Even as now, as many times I get opportunity, I used to listen to his older talks, etc.
Even now you listen?
Yeah, constantly. I do that because, listening to him is the inspiration that I have all the time. In some way or the other, I used to listen, at least once a day. So, after his passing away, it's a great shock of my life, because I never had thought that how much impact that he had in my life. I was crying for almost 2-3 days when I was in Siddhabari, when his body came. So after that, my inspiration has been to live by the basic principles what Gurudev taught. The Vedanta is the answer to many of the unanswerable questions of life.
What would your advice be for the youth and the devotees of Chinmaya Mission?
See, we should never forget what vision Gurudev had for all of us, for the world, for everybody in general. So the universal teaching of Vedanta should be taken to the nooks and corners of the world. To do that, we must have the right kind of people to do that. See, Gurudev, when he started, he was all by himself, right? I recently put it in the Facebook, you might have seen. I don't know whether you saw that. Swami Ishwarananda congratulating Gurudev in 1952.
For the Upanishad Yajna.
You saw, it's called unprecedented. He said, you saw the letter? Yeah. Unprecedented. He said, nobody has done this, that he talks and translate his talks at once, it's available to people.
Yes, true, true.
How much of energy and enthusiasm with which he worked in the beginning, we should have that. We have become very relaxed.
Quite.
We must make sure that every one of us should have that intensity. You should not relax and saying, okay, everything is fine, I don't need to do anything. Gurudev used to say, if one day you have not served the world, don't eat.
One word. How would you describe Swami Chinmayananda as?
A man of his words. What he said, he did.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did it. That's what the book was also about. He did what he spoke,
Yeah.
and that's why the statement is, what is that? Manasi ekam, vachasi ekam, karmani ekam, mahatmanah. That is manasi ekam, what he has in his mind. Vachasi ekam, that's what he would say.
Yeah.
And karmani ekam, that what he said is what he would do. So there is a alignment of these three, thought, word and action, that we find in him completely. So he never stopped his expressing what he thought is the right thing to do, and he had accomplished that. And there are so many things he would have thought he would not have accomplished.
True.
And our Guruji, such a ardent disciple, I would say, had translated or translated, I would say, yes, his Gurudev's thoughts into actions in many, many ways, in so many projects.
Yeah.
And done a marvelous job of making Gurudev's vision come to action, fruition.
And it has
So,
become a big empire now.
Yes, so that should continue. And so many things which Gurudev would have thought, we should work on it and to make it sure that that's our job, that's our duty.